Hello and welcome to the next episode. This is our series which is all about this Lego room and of course my life. Now we've done loads in the last couple of uploads because we have started to attack and place everything within this superhero section, but we've had to stop because lack of base plates. But we have started around here, so you can see what we're in the process of doing. We've relocated the Ghostbuster Firehouse, relocated the Avengers Tower. We've put all of the Disney stuff now up top on that shelf, which I think looks very, very smart, and this will all be attacked in a separate upload for the Disney, as will in another separate upload there's down sort of under the table Star Wars display, because that is a new Kallax, has only just been added in the last upload, I do believe. Now what I also did in the last upload was paint a wall. So this is now red, and this is now our downtown Gotham display, ready for the new animation series set. That is now only a few days away, so this is now going to be all Gotham, and we've got the roller coaster ride there. So every single piece is obviously a puzzle to a different theme park that we are doing. However, I can't do that because the paint is literally drying and we haven't got any more to do. I can't do anything over here because we lack of base plates, which now gives us the perfect opportunity, as you've probably seen in the title. Can we make space for the Dungeons and Dragons set? Now we have 3 tables to play with. We have this one, and this one. Nice and simple. And of course, they are all messy from the other displays. But we want to try and get in the He-Man Castle, the Rivendell. We want to move the Jurassic Park, potentially get the Treehouse in. The Harry Potter's already in. The Stranger Things is there or thereabouts in. And I've got to move the Space Coaster while leaving space for as many sets as I can possibly remember, including the Loop Coaster. So we've got quite a lot to do within this upload, and then we are ready for new sets to come out. So stick around, because guaranteed something is going to go wrong, because it never runs smoothly. But first thing first, I need to get these away. The space has been made so we can just crack on and get going. Ignore that in the background, so I had to stop to put a different video together to then carry on with this one. So just ignore that, because it's a cog that never stops turning. So we have got quite a lot to shift and move within this one, but we'll start with the stuff that we've already done. So the Stranger Things is in, that's its new home. So that is moving, that is staying, and the Harry Potter stuff is staying. So ideally what I want to try and do is create a run of buildings all the way across the back of just sort of like fascias and units and buildings that open. Now, one of those things will be the He-Man Castle. I think the He-Man Castle at the back would look nice. The Snake Mountain beside that would look nice. And then if they do another one this year, that would also look nice as well, because the Snake Mountain is in a huge sale on Amazon at the moment. But we have to leave space for sets that are going to be coming in the future, and it's very, very difficult to do. So I am starting at this end, but we have got a set that we need to add at the other end, which we've also got to leave space for another set beside it. You can see how complicated and hard this is going to be, because these 3 tables are going to be a long-term project. So whereas these we'll keep going to, and we'll keep doing the road plates, and obviously, like I said, we'll get attack all of that in the corner and get all the cars and everything in on different uploads, and that'll all happen within sort of like the DC Gotham upload next that happens. I already said that we can't do anything with the Marvel. I'm only doing this as a gap filler. Otherwise, I probably would have just left the tables spacious, to be honest, because it's going to be very, very difficult to do. But if I can start to connect the dots from the Harry Potter with where we're going to place the Rivendell, that would be brilliant. Right, I have done a thing. The table's been cleared, and I have moved some bits and pieces, and I've already put them back because it was a complete waste of my time. It was that bad I couldn't even do it as a time lapse to waste your time. So I've got a bit of an issue, because I said that I wanted these going across the back, opened up fully across the back, and then get Snake Mountain on the next one, because it would look nice as a bit of fascia and a backdrop like we've got the Harry Potter. Can't do that because it only opens up as an L shape. So that is a bit of a problem, because it doesn't open up all the way around because of how they've got the hinges on this set. You can see the hinges are in the middle. So if I now demonstrate again of what I've just found out and started to swear to myself, hence why I can't share that footage with you, that's as far as the flap will open. So we can create a really, really nice L shape, but the problem is, again, it's the wrong way round. Because if it was the other way round, I could have just put it in that corner and just had it as an L shape blocking off the next land, and we can only get through to the next section or the next area of the theme park underneath the Stranger Things set. So I am now stumped with the best way to display this, because I have an issue and a bad feeling that the Snake Mountain is also the same way, and it opens up the wrong way, and that's no good to me, because I can't visualize how I can make this work without losing a load of space. Because obviously it would work perfectly if it just went here on the edge of the table, because you'll be able to see the front and you'll be able to see the side, and it doesn't take up any space at all. But then you've obviously got all the cool play features and everything on the inside. So it's a beautiful, beautiful set. But I was hoping that it opens up, and yes, it does split apart to make it a little bit easier. So this fascia piece does come off. I've already said that, and you're not watching that back. It was very, very tearful. So we'll slide that out the way. So the next thing I then did is obviously started to move the Rivendell back to where it was, because in my head and thought process, as always, I think it was always going to be easier than what it is. This table I thought we could just have for Lord of the Rings / Dungeons and Dragons. This table is the castle, that table up at the top is the loop coaster and the Jurassic Park. Makes sense, easy enough, make the space and do whatever. Now I put it at this angle, which I really, really like, because you can just see through to the next area, but you can't get there, that happens in the theme parks. You've got this water as the divide, so to be able to get to the next section you have to walk the path. Now obviously what we can do is we can walk the path, take the path through. I can build a nice little path just here, and it goes underneath the Stranger Things into the next section, which is obviously the Harry Potter. You've then got the Harry Potter diagonal alley strip, and then where this thing is here, there was a base plate, which is now where the peg is, because I moved the base plate already, and that is actually where the Gringotts Bank is going to be. So that would be the ride for the Harry Potter section, and then that's all done. And then obviously it then takes us into Gotham, and then Gotham comes round into Ninjago, and so on. So it all flows nicely, and I want this to flow as well, because I'm going to use the gates to come in to this section from the Loop roller coaster, because I was going to use the T-Rex and all the dinosaurs as theming on the Loop roller coaster. I've gone back to that decision because it looks so good with the red coaster in there, which we've done with the Spider-Man sets and all that kind of thing. Now the reason why you might be going, oh, it looks fine there, do it, it doesn't fit. Oh, I found the perfect angle to take up no space with the perfect view through, and I can't get this bit to connect because of it's hitting the top. So I can't get this round. So I don't know what to do with this, because I think it looks fantastic split, but it also looks gorgeous together. If I had it flat against this table, the problem is I need to leave this space here in case the next Lord of the Rings set's the really tall one. Because if it's the really tall one, it's going to go in one place, and it has to go at the edge of the table, just like the Loop coaster has to go at that end of the table, because you've got no choice, because this is deceiving to a lot of people. Now, if you have got the alleyway, you can see that the tops are touching the green, and those bits aren't the biggest of sets, so this slopes so much. Now I like it, I just don't know if we can do something with this. I don't know if we can just take it away, so we just have these two pieces like that, and then we do something off there, because we can't really put the He-Man castle. I don't think we can put the He-Man castle on. And these tables, because if you haven't caught the other episode, I had to pull all these tables out. Every single one of these had to be pulled out for that Kallax to go in. You think, oh yes, that's fine. Yeah, it's not a problem. I had every single leg perfect. So this didn't happen. But when you slide the sets, you could go from table to table to table. Now the tables look level, don't they? But they're not, because I can't push this set over. So I'm now having to pick every single set up and over a tiny little slope. And this is where they all get damaged, because you just forget that it's there, you push it and pieces ping off. But hopefully I can rectify it as we go around. Because like I said, this is a long-term, it's going to be a slow burner, this one. And at the pace I'm going, it's going to be very, very slow. But I can't get, come on. the rest of that up. No, I can't. So we've got options of that, which doesn't, I don't think works, but it might work. But then it's a case of what do we do with that? That is a problem. I mean, it's a bad problem to have, but it is a problem. Now, the other issue is because that does work so well, and I'm going to be thinking it's the only way to do it, which clearly it isn't. Because, for example, the Jurassic Park gates could just go there, and we could have the gates open, and then you could see into that section, but I still think it would be quite nice doing it the other way around. And there is something pretty cool about just being able to, like where I'm stood now, you get just a really nice view just looking in. I'm just thinking from a photo perspective, when this is all got different minifigures in and you're in the next section, the next zone. I've got to be careful what I put in front of it as well, because I don't want to block it all off. So if I put a Dungeons and Dragons set in front of it, for example, is it going to be too tall? I tried it in, I think it was the other attempt, which was the bad language one, which I really can't share that with you. It'd be too many horn beeps. I thought I'd just go rogue on it, and I was like, no, I watched it back, absolutely not. I put that in front of it and it blocks everything off because it is a little bit taller. So ideally, I need a building that is about that high, and that way it can go about here as a base plate. So that would be okay. Because if the other set is a base plate or just a little bit bigger, it can go there, and then we're creating a shape. So really, the next set could go there. Because if the next set went there, that way, you can see absolutely everything, and that's fine. Now, I would use that castle as an example, but you can see how much of a pain it is to move. Now, talking of things that's a pain to move, I need to move the rest of those little bits and pieces, but this is almost finished rendering, and I need to sort out a load of uploads and stuff on YouTube, ready for you guys and girls to watch. So I will catch back up with you either later on today or tomorrow, straight into a time lapse, clearing out that space so we can figure out what we're going to do with this. Now, I'm eyeballing the tree. I don't know, would it? So you get carried away. I've got a little bit of time left, but not a huge amount. For this tree, you can look at it. That's what I didn't want it to do. Just swallows everything. But then if that tree can't go behind that, because you're not going to see the tree. But the thing is though, from there you can get some nice photos. I don't know. Obviously it look nice. It look nice there. All that greenery and everything together. It is going to be a massive problem because I haven't got any smaller stuff. All the stuff that they do in, all the stuff that we've done, where we've got all the different bits and pieces, and it's all big with the smaller stuff in front of it. It's really difficult because the big stuff has got to come in front. We've got no choice, and then things are going to get hidden. But then it is a ride, so really, does it matter if I can't see it? Because if I put a camera around the corner and it's there, do we just try and do a lot more Easter eggs with this, maybe? Because obviously you've got to imagine you're going to be on a really, it's going to be a really windy, bendy water ride. So obviously it's basically the Rivendell Rapids 3.2, I think, or something stupid like that. Does that... Hang on. See, you wouldn't have thought just trying to get two sets placed to start with would be this difficult, but it is. It is. Now, can I? Nah, it's no one. I can't. There's no way I can get that treehouse anywhere near the back. It's going to eat into too much space. Looks nice together though. Let's be honest, it does look nice together. I think what I might have to do, maybe pull these tables forward. Why don't I do that? What's the reason I don't do that? That comes forward. I know the Kallax is in there now, but it doesn't matter because it's in. If I bring them forward ever so slightly, I could get the Rivendell as a long length. This one would also has to come forward, but it's got everything on it, which is easier said than done, because I have just stacked every single box known to man underneath that table. But if I can get the back of the table away from... The back of the table needs to be in line with the front of the green. I think that's the problem. So that's what I'm going to do first. So I'm solving problems as we go. We've got to try and create as much, give it as much chance as possible with the height. Because where does this one come from? Where does this one come from? This is all new. I've not tried this over at this angle before. So where does this touch and kiss? How much table do we lose, basically? Right, fit. Oh, I'm confused now. How does that fit there, but not on the other one? See? I don't get it. Oh, it is actually just the same. Yeah, I'm being slow, to put it politely, being a bit silly. So I think I need to get the back of that table, so that is on the back of the table like that. So I think I've probably I've got to come forward about that much on each table, which possibly, they're not straight anyway. I haven't put them back properly, look. I think I'm causing my own problems with this, but I know what's going to happen. I've got to get that Kallax back out in another upload for the Star Wars stuff, because I put all the shelves in and I shouldn't have put all the shelves in, and because it's screwed, I've got to take the edges off first to pop it off, and I don't think I can take the edges off in situ. I'm not going to have enough space. This is going to be now one very, very interesting upload. As normal, I have no idea how much you've seen in that time lapse until I watch it back. So if there was no time lapse, you saw nothing. Moved quite a bit. Obviously, they can come really far this way, but I have got the edge of that table, for the Harry Potter, the very, very, very white line. The base plate is like that far away before it hits the top and the bottom. So I don't want it touching, because if it falls through a gap, then obviously that's never fun. It's going to be a right nightmare to get the bits and pieces until the stuff underneath the table is tidied. So we've given ourselves more height, because obviously we've come out this way, which means we're now further away for the tall sets, for the ceiling. That's absolutely fine. The reason why it was spaced like that, in case you're wondering, well, you're stupid, is because there was a table here that, well, yeah, fell through. But that table that was here obviously was pinned to that bit. So with the meter table in here, that actually had to go further that way. So I can bring it in a little bit more, but now I think it's actually in line with the back. So I need to climb over and darken off some of the bits and pieces on there anyway. But we have got this connected. Obviously it needs a little bit of a tweak and a little bit of a going over, but I think for we've done something at least. Now, the problem is doing all of this. Now, none of the tables are the correct height. A game to be played to level up 4 more tables, but that is what that looks like from here. I really do like this set. It is so pretty, and you can see now in the background the Harry Potter. Now obviously the Harry Potter is actually still in the wrong position, so if I move this back to where it is going to go, and now we have just gained some Harry Potter table, so we've now got a little bit of a wider bit to have a bit of fun with. Now I'm getting these in where I think they're going to work, and I really do like that. Now this potentially, I think, is the right way to do it, because I think what we'll be able to do is put maybe like a Hagrid's hut there or something, and this might be able to get pushed back ever so slightly. We might be able to add in, there's a base plate of width there now, so it's much wider than what it was. Now if you're wondering, well, you could push it back a little bit more. I've actually got it overhanging on the back, so it's not actually on the table at the back. So that's how deep this set is. So it's just huge. It's just an absolute monstrous of a thing, but it is so pretty. But I would like to think that's how that would go, because the Stranger Things now I think looks really nice behind that. Now again, we could tuck the Stranger Things a little bit closer so it's closer to the water. So we've got it like that, which gives us that sort of like little peephole. You can see what we're trying to do now, hopefully, with regards to just letting people know that this is the way to go with the theme park. But then at the same time, you've got the outer edge of that, then walk through. That then just gives us a little bit of space at the front, which would then give us more space for stuff on this side. So that is 2 base plates basically. So we'd have base plate being used, bit down the middle, and then you can see you've got the run of all those bits and pieces. And then there's not that much table space being lost, but obviously we can fill that because there is the Ford Angular, begins with an A, something along those lines. I'm close, I think I'm close, but I know it's a little Ford. $9.99 I think that is. That'll obviously be put here, but it's a flying car, isn't it? So we could have that flying up just behind that gap behind Rivendell, facing that way to go into the Harry Potter. That could work very nicely. Just put it up onto some clear bricks. So I don't know whether to have like a little peak pole where we've got the tree and then the blue with all those trees around, or we have the Stranger Things a little bit further from photos and video and what looks better on camera. So let me know in that comment section if you prefer it closer or further away. So obviously it opens it up a lot more, so I can see it a lot more like that. But then at the same time, I do quite like it quite close together. I wonder if I can... angle it. Can I angle it like that? Yeah, because you've kind of got the 2 different trees up at the top close together. I quite like the fact that you've got the trees there. And then there is that other building just behind it, but I've just brought that... I can just angle this enough. I wonder actually if I could, and just almost have it as a layer. It's almost like the Stranger Things is part of it now, so it's just a lot closer rather than being separated. So like the Stranger Things is like the last thing you go through, and because it's angled, then you go into that Harry Potter, but you don't lose any of the space. So there is definite options with regards to what we can do with the Stranger Things, but I think that combo works nicely. For now, I think what I do is I will just have it straight, which is the 2 trees back up the top, because that way I think you can see both trees and I can get some nice angles and photos and stuff. And then that allows me, what we're going to do, path, underneath, strip. Now obviously there could be something mega here. Now if that's a base plate and a half, which it could well be, I do have the option of moving that over by half a base plate, so we just come over here So those trees are basically in line with those, and we can just basically adjust it accordingly. I think that's the best thing to do, but I think visually that's the best pair. With the D&D set in front of it, I think that would look nice. So that D&D set, again, it's hard, I know it's difficult. Poor He-Man Castle is getting absolutely abused. See what I mean about, oh, no, that's fine, that's actually meant to do that. That bit's not meant to do that, that shouldn't have come off. No, you shouldn't have come off, you should stay there. There we go, that's back in. But no, this is a cool thing, so it's just in by this pin. It's a real clever thing, because it's just really easy to move around. Then it just slots back in. I think that's such a good design to make it easy to remove. But that would be, say for example, maybe there, I would imagine the dragon would be. Because you would have all this water coming around from the ride. To be fair, even the He-Man Castle doesn't look too bad with that behind it, because that's now at such an angle and it's pushed back that little bit more. Nice, okay. Good. So this, I think this table will fit the 2 more sets for sure. Now, because I have angled that as obviously a big angle, it's eating up the whole back of that table. So that's where the line is, just there. So we just need potentially at the very back, again, it's just the Snake Mountain and He-Man. Or Castle Grayskull, I do apologise. Castle Grayskull, I know I keep saying He-Man. The Snake Mountain and Castle Grayskull could go at the back. So we've got the two really nice bits there. So that would be number 1, which doesn't look bad actually. So that's you can see what, hopefully you guys and girls can see what we're trying to do with this land. So D&D, staggered, that, Snake Mountain I think would, well yeah, no, if the Snake Mountain's the same base size as that, it would come across the back. And then we've got loads of room. Yes, we have. We have got loads of room. But what are we doing with that? This is the problem. What are we doing with the treehouse? Oh, the treehouse. So just saying, in an ideal world, that you would just have, it's easy enough in my head to map out now, you just have a unit parallel to that one, so that's those 2 as a pair, and then you would just have the castle next to the Dungeons and Dragons castle, so you've got a unit here and a unit basically there with equal spacing, and then you just have the castle market in front of it, and then you've got the loop coaster with the Jurassic Park gates, which is, to be fair, not too bad, because you're only going to have 2 bigger units in the middle, which are both castles, so you're only going to be hiding, not so much hiding, but it's just the Snake Mountain and Castle Grayskull. But that treehouse is now in the works, isn't it? How did I just forget that was there? I got all excited thinking, oh yeah, we've nailed it. Right, I'm going to need to move all of this anyway. And then, depending on what the time is, I've been up here all day. I'm so hungry. We'll carry on again as normal today. If not, it'll be a different day, but it'll just be one upload for you. As normal, it's bodged, but it's bodged for a reason. We're thinking of using the green see-through bits as kryptonite for the DC area, which is over there, but that is going to be where our paint is currently. So the paint I'm still using to dab in that, and I can't be bothered to put all of those back to take them back out again, so they can just stay there for now because they're not in the way for what we need to do. Now, what we can't move while we bring the Jurassic Park gates over is this thing, which is these, that's what I was trying to say, these things, this thing. It's 3 different base plates, and it is simulating our loop coaster. Now we want the loop in the middle. That's what we want. That's what we want to try and achieve. And then the fresh store will probably go at the far end, and we might have some of the little teeny tiny dinosaurs basically ripping that to pieces, because I want to get the visitor centre and the other 4 sets. You've got the 4 plus and the 3 cars, haven't you, plus the visitor centre, and they will go on this table, but the cars aren't very big. So I didn't know whether to have all the characters and everything on the loop coaster, have all the dinosaurs. I want to try and get this massive T-Rex around that loop coaster as well, but I didn't know whether to have it as a bit of a breakout. So the gates are going into our mythical land, and we've got the main car there. Because the other option is the car is the ride, but that won't work because we want it all water based. So the car is meant to go on those tracks, isn't it? So we could have that as the little Easter egg with the gates open ever so slightly like that, like it's going into the next bit, or we have the gates further in, so it's all part of this land. Because I either have them facing that way, or have the gates facing that way into that corner, and then we have the visitor centre in front. So it could go visitor centre, gates, cars and everything all on the loop coaster, big T-Rex in the loop, and then that's that. And then we have definitely got space for another set to go beside that, which has to be Snake Mountain, let's be honest. That has to go right beside it, so that'd be a nice pair, like I said. D&D, Castle, Castle Market, space for whatever else, space for whatever else. So yeah, it's an expansion table over a long period of time. I wonder if I can do it in a way where I can get smaller base plates and then just move them accordingly. So I got a load of these at this size, or half that size. What's that? 2, 4, 6. Have I got 8 studs wide? 6, 7. Whatever I can do. Make up a load of those and just have them round with some curves. And then if I ever get a new set, I can then just pick them up and move them. But that would be tricky. But I think it might be better than not doing anything. It's tough. Right, gates moved, get them gone. I don't know if I can get a version of that base plate but smaller, and then make them up with the water, and then almost have it as panels, and then remove the panels when we put different sets in, and that way I can keep changing the layout of the ride really easy, rather than ripping my fingers and nails apart, just getting them off the base plates. If they're on their own small standalone base plate, and they can just go anywhere, and then we can add all the trees and everything around them, that could potentially work quite well. But I can't do any of that just yet, but I think everything else should fit quite nicely. Plenty of space for expansion, but it is now very much a case of if these gates are going to work and what we're going to do that tree out. So from this angle now, you can see actually how much space we do have. It's going to be a big old area. Now this is also a big old set as well. What do we do with this, and what way do we angle it? Because obviously you can have the little sneaky bit with the gates open. I don't think it makes much sense. I really do need to get these tables level, having it that way, because it's kind of its own completely separate land. But then at the same time, it could be. You could just have it that way because the other sets aren't going to come past this bit, but I wanted the gates going into this land because obviously you've got all the fire and all that kind of thing. So does it go at the back or does it go at the front? Because it does look very good. Because you've got different options and different places that we can put it. Because we could just tuck it there and it's just there, but that just looks like it's, well, not going to work, is it? Because you want the Castle Grayskull there. We could obviously bring it forward, maybe in the middle. The easiest thing to do would be, it makes the most sense doing that. I get it right to the edge of that table. That's what sense, it makes sense having it that way, but I can't see it. You'd have to come all the way around, and I don't like that because you're only going to see it from the back. Unless we did have it that way, but spun it round, and then you did do the mythical section into a Jurassic Park, because it's just going to have the loop coaster. So we have Harry Potter that end. There's nothing stopping us having Jurassic Park at the other. Then we've got the 2 tables in the middle for the other stuff. So we've kind of made three zones. Have I just done something by mistake? Because that went smack. This is so battered. How it's holding on, I don't know. Credit to the designer. It's a tough cookie, because we could have that just like that. And then that car would then be in the gates, visitor centre this side, and then that gets pushed over that way a little bit, because that way you can still see it easy enough. And then the loop coaster is going to be so big, we've got that gap that we can see stuff. But do we need this much space for all the vehicles and stuff? Do I get a little bit more creative with it and cut it off? Do I cut it off here? Which is then... Because we could just do that. But to be honest, looks nice. If we're gonna go for its own land, don't know, do we have it straight? Do we have it angled? I think that's something I need to sleep on, because nothing's going to affect this side. I don't think these gates are just the gates. Obviously, the T-Rex is just where the T-Rex is. That's going to be on that base plate. So this is literally the amount of space we have currently. So if anybody can think of what other set would work with this, because I think that is probably the best way. That's going to be the best way to have it, because it's all that kind of thing, and then yeah, straight into the Jurassic Park section, and then straight into the next section from there. So makes sense. It's Jurassic Park's its own land. We can have I think we're gonna have the Easter egg of the Flintstones in there, because it's prehistoric. It's just where they look the best, because depending on where I'm stood, I don't really think it matters, because you can see it. Stand there, you can see that, you can see all of that, you can see all of that. Come around, you're going to see all of that, all of this. And it could be anything it wants directly in front of it. The only option with, well, the only advantage maybe having it at this slight angle is that if we had a display straight up to this line, we have then got a different bit to get into the gate. So there is that option. So I think I'll leave it just like that, because there's your gate there. So I am going to get some food, because I'm absolutely starving, and I'm going to catch back up with you later on in the week. So today is a new day, and some progress has already been made. I've actually figured out where to put the treehouse, and I think that works really, really well for theming, because obviously you're going to have the loop coaster behind it. We're going to have all the small little dinosaurs running around, and we're going to have the other sets and bits and pieces like that. So potentially the visitor centre could just go at the front, or we can just tuck it behind the gates. But I think that gives a nice feel and a nice look of everything all in one thing. So you'll have the D&D and the castle side by side. Obviously you'll have the Snake Mountain beside the He-Man castle, and then you're going to have whatever you've got here, and you've got space for something else, potentially space for something else, and then obviously the loop coaster. So as it stands, if I just got the loop coaster, I don't know, like tomorrow, I wish, and it was built, that would slot straight in there. And I think the second those base plates go down with just a little bit of greenery underneath the white, I think that would look very, very smart. Now again, the problem I've got is I don't have any base plates. So there seems to be a current theme going on of being lack of base plates. But I'm running out. I need some base plates for there. I need to build up the base plates for there, and I just need to figure out what's going on for that. But I do have these absolutely enormous things just here. Now this is the football pitch. Look at the size of this thing. This is an enormous thing. So That, I think, could work quite well just here. Because I think if they just went underneath the gates and came through, that would take up the rest of that table. And I'm pretty sure 2 of those, we wouldn't be too far off. So for the sake of just seeing what it looks like, I will place those down. And I think what we could do is we can actually create the queue and all the other little bits and pieces. Potentially, again, the water could just go round the gates and in between the gates. So we could just loop it. We could just loop it through, and we could have a derelict coaster. So it's a roller coaster that's been discontinued. You know, when you go around theme parks and there's certain bits overgrown, and you always wonder what's there. Maybe that might be quite nice. Just something completely different. So all of this table is just a full-blown mythical bit, and it's all been overgrown and it's all been battered. So yes, it would have a beautiful loop coaster, and it would say loop. I could have some of the writing dangling down to make it look like it's a little bit broken. We could have a crane over the top of it, and just have all the dinosaurs up there. So we could make that bit as like a proper escape, or that could be part of the story of the water ride, because the story at Universal from Los Angeles and Florida, it's very much a case if you're going around, you see all the nice dinosaurs, whereas this one, you're on the boat and you're going to see all the different bits and pieces. Then you get to the main section, which would be the huge drop, which is all about the Jurassic Park bit where a dinosaur has escaped and then you shoot off into the log flume. So we can't really do a hybrid of water into a coaster. I don't think we could do anything like that. I don't think I'm not that clever. Unless you can get off it and then, because it's just such a quick ride. It could be potentially part of the ride, or it's derelict coaster. And we just pack it with different bits and pieces, so we don't really put any minifigures in there. It's just a proper... It's like what Jurassic Park was underneath Jurassic World from the first one, where they went in there and found it and it all overgrown and it looked really eerie and spectacular. That's what potentially we could do in that, just to keep all of that theming. And I could say like some of the loop could be missing, for example. So like one of these pieces, we take one of those pieces off and we have a piece in the T-Rex mouth. So the dinosaur's actually eating the loop coaster. And that's something that you're seeing on the ride. So we could either make it as a proper escape or not. But it's ideas, I know it's ideas, but as I'm thinking of this, because I do want to make this look very, very nice, I might as well try and get these pieces down. Those 3 base plates can stay where they are because they can just slide and glide straight back out again. I do like the treehouse there. I think that angle looks quite smart. So if I put that there, that goes there. Yes, I know, I can't be bothered to take the tiles off, because I have got bruised fingers from doing so many on the last one. It's a little bit tender at the moment, so I'm not doing any more, basically. I've retired in this upload trying to take any more tiles off, because it was only a couple of days ago when I absolutely ruined myself taking off. I did it for an hour solid, check me out. An hour non-stop of de-tiling stuff. Ready for it all to be tiled again. Now, I've got to be super careful with this. Ooh. He says as he hits his own dinosaur. Ah, it's not too bad, is it? Oh, there we go. So that is 3 base plates. 3 base plates long, and it's wider than what this was. So that is ideal. So that can go there. Yes, I know the football pitch and markings are on there, but it'll all get tiled. They'll all get tiled properly. Makes a big difference. The second it goes down green, it just makes a big... It makes a big difference. So yeah, gates on the angle, they could potentially be pulled forward a little bit or pushed back, but I do like how they're stepped. So we've just got to figure out what story you want this to tell. Is it a working roller coaster and that is part of the ride? Is it just a completely standalone section like we're going to have over here? Or do we go for a proper thing where it's derelict and the track is being eaten by the T-Rex? We've Because there is some rides like that where you think that you're going to go on it and it breaks and it takes you a different way, so it could be more of a motion simulator type thing. Going to make it all very, very detailed in 3D, like they've laid all of this water on here. So there's going to be a big, big project. But what I am going to do with Jay's Toy Collection UK, he doesn't know it yet, but I think he does, is we're going to sit down one evening and just order hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces, or thousands of pieces that are needed, and then they can all be delivered and arrived. And then I can just sit down and do a section at a time. So I ordered all of these tiles off the Lego website. I know it's a lot more expensive doing it that way. We all know it's much cheaper getting it from what used to be the pad cups, which I have got a load of. I've had an accident brown 1x2s, so they would work very, very well here, because that is that colour. So I can use those with watercolour. Need to get some white clear as well. The blue, or this water, this effect, how we've got it on here, that sort of effect I can do with the cheese slabs and slopes if the base plate's blue. Which, to be honest, if it was just a single layer, it gives that effect. The only problem is that if you try and do it over green, you need to put a clear on, then put a thick blue one on, and it's double the cost, isn't it? So you're looking at 6p every 2 studs. Yeah, it's expensive very, very, very quickly. But they're not obviously actual base plates. They're just row plates upside down, and they just happen to be green. And obviously it gives a good effect of, if I had like some brown base plates and some green base plates and they were all thrown in there, like that for example, I think it's not tiled. It doesn't all need to be tiled. If I just put a couple of mushrooms in or a couple of trees, we're good to go on that. But I like how that looks, and I would imagine now the loop coaster will come sooner rather than later. I always say about the loop coaster, and something else does come about, but I did say a long, long time ago that I wanted to get the loop coaster from Billund because you get a huge percentage off. But I have now learned that if I fly from Heathrow, I can actually get Lego sets from Heathrow and collect them on the way back out. You don't pay the VAT. So I could just be clever and save a load of money and do it that way for some of the bigger sets. That's why I am holding fire on the loop coaster, because it's not got into a sale yet, and I know that I can get it cheaper from an airport, whereas all the other bits and pieces, like for example the Jurassic Park sets themselves, now if you were to get the whole wave when they first came out, they're in the 300s, and now they're in the high 190s, so you're saving 130 odd quid at least. The visitor centres dropped down now to like 89. That was well up there. So they are getting much, much cheaper, but I've got to be careful, because suddenly if they go really cheap, then they get discontinued and it's done. So I've got to be careful. I've got to be careful with that. So that, like I said, I'm happy with. I think I've shown that box off already, but if I didn't, that is going to be built up when all the bits and pieces now get tiled and the row plates and stuff come down. Also, these things. Now, I have got 2 of these. Actually, that's a lie. I've got 3 of these, but I've got 2 of these brand new in the box. Now, I don't know if I can now use them in our Gotham display, because it's part of the Jazz Club removals. So we have got the Jazz Club just here, and we've got an army of them. I was going to use it as Kingpin's goons for our Marvel sections. I've got 3 of them. Or the other thing I was going to do is, I did say this a lot. In fact, I said this when I first got them. I would want, what was it for? It was for an X-Men Mansion. Because there was an X-Men Mansion rumoured last year when that modular came out, and obviously it didn't happen this year. And having Deadpool driving one of these, moving his own stuff into the X-Men Mansion, and they were just literally following each other. And so that's why I've got 3 of them. So I actually picked 2 more up really, really cheap on Facebook Marketplace. So do I now have it with our DC display, and we have it as a bit of a show and a bit of a thing going on there? because they look quite nice grouped together, and they're not massive things, are they? 301 pieces. It won't take too long. But yeah, I've got to think of what I'm going to do with those, but clearly it's not going to work with this. And I have got a bit of an Easter egg for a G.I. Joe item as well. So we can, say for example, hide that just there. We can just tuck that in there as a bit of an Easter egg to the G.I. Joe. So if you know, you know, with regards to Yo-Joe, so it doesn't fit within that land whatsoever, but at the same time, you could kind of get it away, being like a Predator-esque team. Clutching at straws on that one, but we will see what we're at. Now again, I like this. The more I look at this, the more I think this really does work, and I think just panning down and doing some different bits and pieces like that, for example, I said it looks smart, and then we come down and that looks nice as well, and we've got those bits and pieces just there. So I have now got, as always, lots of other little bits and pieces that I need to do. So I'm going to catch back up with myself in a couple of days, see where we're at with regards to what else can be added to this. Now I've got to find, all jokes aside, somewhat I can put this fan, because I know, like, Jay's Toy Collection UK, this is his favourite set, and he's a right bugger, he always says it has to be in the best place. Sorry, I can't give a straight face. He hates this set, absolutely hates it. So I need to make sure that it is in prime real estate, so it is on shows. I mean, I could, in all fairness, just to really wind them up for now, would that fit there? Just have it like that. Off. That's what we're after, that sort of thing. Just block the Avengers Tower off. No, that doesn't work there, which is a little bit of a shame. But I do need to find, all jokes aside, I do need to find somewhere to put this, and this is a very, very cool set, and it has got a it's got the motor and everything, so it's supposed to spin round. Just don't know how I can theme it in. So if anybody has any ideas with regards to what we could do for that, but you can see how close that is to the roof. There's not much give on that, so it can't go in lots and lots of places. But I do like all the detail down here. I think all of that does look very, very good. But yeah, just eyeballing and looking around, not 100% sure where it can go at the moment, but that will be a future me problem. So I'm just going to leave that there to annoy Jay just for a little bit longer, and I will crack on, and I'll catch back up with you lot in a couple of days. Well, that escalated very, very quickly, and if you saw last week's upload, you would have already seen what I've done with this. Now, we are at a crossroads, because the problem I have is I wanted to get this video uploaded before last week's video, but I couldn't, because last week's video has all the stuff on the tables that I need to clear to be able to carry on with this video. But this thing is beautiful, and this will be moved over there, and that's where it finishes up. I'm hoping, because it's not yet moved, but that is the plan of attack for that. And also, if you saw last week's video, what happened in last week's video wasn't even a thing until I'd actually got to the end of where I was before I've just started to speak. Now, if you're confused, it was all the painting. I had no idea that was not a thing until Jay's Toy Collection UK turned up, and then we started to paint all underneath here. So I have to get all of this back in for the Star Wars and storage upload to be able to get all the Star Wars stuff back underneath there, which will then give us the tables back to carry on with what we were doing. Told you, it's a cog that never stops spinning. So, with regards to an update, is that beautiful? Absolutely. Can I wait to get it up onto that wall? Absolutely not. So that's obviously going to be in its own complete different upload, but that will be safe and sound. Obviously, it's fully complete. The Easter eggs on that are incredible. There is an unboxing video already up on YouTube, so hunt that down. You want to see all of the different detail. It's just madness, and how well all of this is hidden in. So say, for example, that looks like it's fully complete. That bit pops off, and you've got loads of different Easter eggs just on there, and it is as easy as just putting that back on. And obviously you just need two hands just to push it back in, like so. That is it. Done, and done. So I have to get all of this tidied in a different upload. And then you're going to catch back up with me in this upload with a Colosseum, yes, the Colosseum, on this table to see how much space it takes up. And then we can start to measure it up and see if we can, in a different upload, get it underneath that green thing a little bit further back. But before I can do that, I have to tidy all of this. Right, it is up. Now, I've done some stupid things in the past, but having that with both hands above my head, going up a set of loft ladders, hands free, is probably up there with the most silliest and riskiest thing I've done on a ladder, apart from falling off one. So, let's play catch up of where we're at. You can tell I'm still out of breath, because that was hard work getting out there. So, we are still the same day of when I spoke to you before. All the Star Wars bits and pieces are now in. So that is in, that is done. You would have already seen that in the last upload. However, because I am a moron, I have forgotten to do something in that video, which is that video just there, which I'm getting put together now for tomorrow. I forgot to move the tables, didn't I? I forgot to move the tables before I brought this up. And I've got nowhere to put it because this thing is absolutely massive. Yes, it's now full of wood chippings and all sorts of bits and pieces. There's a little bit of damage which you will see got caused in a different upload, standard. Basically I spun a long bit of wood around and then cracked it, which not my finest moment, to be honest. And I think I made up some new words to go along with that as well. So what I need to figure out is just the spacing for this. Then I need to get the tables moved over, and then we'll start to wrap this up as well. So that has been placed over to here. That's how we've got the space for it. That is going to look absolutely phenomenal when that gets up onto that wall. Now, hopefully it'll go up sooner rather than later. I'm going to have a bit of a play, try and get the Batman up on the wall, and then sort this out as well. But now potentially, if I get that done quick enough, that will be on the wall before this video even goes live. I know. It's all one of those, but I don't think there's anything else we can do here right now until I measure up what potentially could go at the back once I've moved these tables down a little bit. And then when we go to IKEA for the Star Wars stuff, we could potentially go there as well. Now, there is one thing that I will try before this video ends. And I have a lack table. That is a 55cm table. It's basically a smaller version of this. Can I get this through and just have it in the background? Now, the reason is because I have ordered the Dungeons and Dragons set. It is now on the way. It wasn't any intention of getting that when I started to do this. I just wanted to make space for it. It is phenomenal. So Jay's Toy Collection UK said I've got to get it. And what he doesn't realise is that he will be building it. That is the rules and regulations of how this works. So that is going in. But because the Colosseum is used in the film, it would be quite a nice Easter egg. But I just don't know whether to have it from the front, or you have got all of this gorgeous detail going across the back. Now, potentially, because the roof drops, this is where it's going to get a little bit tricky. The roof drops, but obviously it's not as low as the green thing straight away. So I'm going to have to pull a table out at some point to get whatever's needed in the back to then slot this back, because I basically want this rim, or just this piece here, pretty much right on the corner of that table, and then the rest of it goes further back. Now, I'm hoping the roof doesn't slant that much, because if it does, we're in trouble. So I need to figure that out, and obviously there's some little bits and pieces that I need to do. So you're going to go to a time lapse for the 26th time today, because I now need to go on my hands and knees, and I need to move every single one of these tables, which I said I was going to do before I brought the Colosseum over, because it sits on 2 tables. So I've got to just give it a bit of a wiggle room and just hope I don't break it. And the plan is to get this table here as close to that green calyx as possible, which then gives us as much space as needed to get another one of these in, because these are going to go double deep, as I've already said, and then we're going to have a fair few on there. But until I move the tables, I know full well it's not going to work and not going to go in. And potentially this section might actually get done now before the Star Wars section. I better make sure that these tables are in the right place. Right, mission successful, kind of. So I have stopped for a couple of reasons. One of those reasons is this is the table that's going to be pulled out, so there's no point carrying on moving all of these over. Before I can pull that table out to get that in, I've got to tidy all those little bits and pieces up. And the biggest problem, because I am a moron, is I want to get the Batman set up on the wall. Now, when you drill into a wall, it creates brick dust, which means I need to move Gotham City onto these tables, because these are the only tables that are clear, to then get them up on the wall, to then put it back. So there's absolutely no point me messing around getting all of these placed if I'm just gonna wreck it again. So I might as well do the Gotham first. So I don't know what we've achieved in this upload, but we are stopping here. So the next port of call with regards to this side of the theme park is this is going to be placed. Potentially by that point the D&D set would have arrived as well, so we can figure out exactly roughly where that's going to go with regards to the heights. We can start to measure all of that kind of thing up as well, and then we can just attack it from there. But all the tables have moved over, so the next sort of part to this upload is going to be massive, because there's so much more to do, and I can't do any of it really until, like I said, Gotham has come out to go back in again, which means I should have done the drilling before I brought this up, because this takes up so much space. But we are still on that upload, so all I've done is just change hoodie, got the drill ready to start that. Then I thought, no, all of it needs to move. What an absolute moron I am. So with that being said, let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you think of the placement with regards to all of these different bits and pieces. It's going to look really nice when it's all tiled and all those different bits and bobs like that. Obviously, like I said, you've got the loop coaster, Jurassic Park section. This is huge, well set back. It might not work. If it doesn't work, it just goes back down somewhere else, but it would be nice to get that really far back and completely out of the way, but that is going to be a lot of work, so that was going to be in its own upload anyway. But we might as well just do that with the other little bits and pieces, and then just have a proper Batman upload as well. So potentially this will be uploaded, like I said before this, but just keep your eyes peeled, because it's all higgledy-piggledy before I go away, and then it will be back to some sort of more organised chaos when I'm back. But guys, if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll see you next one. Ta-da.